Oh, Gigi, I've been so busy. I'm so glad I have you here to remind me important things like checking the mail because I found something really important in my mail today. Now, what I found is called the United States Census. And it is so important that I think it's time for another episode of Math in Real Life. So, the United States Census, I'm looking at it here. I see the title, but I also see the year underneath it, 2020. So, I'm going to tell you guys that this is sent out every year to every address in America. So, an address is somewhere that a person lives. It can be a house, an apartment, a condo, whatever. So in my case, it was an apartment. And so it was addressed as, not to Miss Hazel, but dear resident that lives at my address. And it tells me that they need my help to count everyone in the United States by providing information about all adults, children, and babies that live or stay here. So how many people stay here? I need to fill it out as the person who lives in this apartment at this address. What? Yes, Gigi, you're right. It's only people. I know. I'm sorry. Maybe next year they'll add penguins. Okay. So I'm gonna respond by going to this link and filling this out because this is part of being a good citizen. This is my responsibility. I need to make sure that I do my part so that our government can decide how much money we need to give to different things, like schools, making sure roads are safe, making sure buildings are taken care of, and things like that. So as you can imagine, when all this information comes in, it can get pretty overwhelming. So it's the job of the people who send out the census to collect this information. So they collect information, or what we call data, and then they organize it. And this is one of the major things that they use. Right, so this is a graph. So they collected data and then they graphed this data. Now, I know that we haven't worked a whole lot on data yet. That's actually one of our last units in math this year. But we know enough that we can read this graph. So what we have going on here, our title tells us what we're graphing about. It says the population 65 and older by size and percent of the total population, 1900 to 2010. So we're only going to focus on what's in the blue. So that's the population 65 years and older by size. So we want to know how many. And I use this key here to say that we're not worried about percentage because we're not going to work on that yet in third grade. But we're going to focus on the number. Now this key tells me, I want you to pay attention to what the words next to the blue. Okay, now we're going to try and read this graph. So I'm going to go to the most recent year, 2010. Now they collect the data like this every 10 years. So this 2020 census is really special. And in a few months, we'll have a new part of the graph. And I'm looking and I see, oh, it looks like the blue stops at about a little more than 12. So are there only 12 people that are 65 and older? Are there only 12 that are 65 and older? What do you think? Good. Hopefully some of you guys said no, because you remembered that our key gives us information. Our key up here tells us that the number is in the millions. So we don't just have 12 people 65 and older. We have about 12 million people 65 and older. And it's cool to look at because you can see that they first started collecting this in 1900. So all the way down here, 1900. And look how it's gone up every year. As time's gone on, people have figured out ways to stay healthier and healthier. And I'm sure that in 2020, that we'll have even more people. Okay? So I want you to think about that today. And I want you to think about this over the next few weeks when we start to focus on data collection and graphing. That we're not just doing it to do it. This is a major part of what you will see in your everyday life. Okay? So that concludes it. That finishes our episode of Math in Real Life. See you later.